Hi and welcome to another episode of Baronov TV, designed to demystify the world of accounts and tax and to help your business grow. This episode I've got two pieces of software that I thought would be really useful to introduce you to. These are the episodes that can really make a difference and that we get some really good feedback about, so I hope they'll be useful. The first one is Canva, canva.com. It's a graphic design package. There's a free option and there's a paid version. The free option is, as it sounds, totally free. You are limited in terms of what you can do. However, I'm able to do everything that I want to do through it. The paid version, I think, is $12.95 per month, or there is a pay up front 12 months worth for a slight reduction offer. Which enables you to put your own branding colours in, so you can upload your Pantone colours so they're exactly right, your fonts, that sort of thing. You can upload your logos to the free version, which is what I use, and you can just specify which fonts you want to use. You can't save as many of those on the free option, but if you're just using it as I do for small amounts of graphics here and there that I just don't want to run through a graphic designer, then it's a really good and fast way of getting something that's visible, particularly for social media. If you want to have an image or maybe for a blog post or something like that, Canva can be a really good way just to get something set up quite quickly that will catch someone's eye on whatever platform you're trying to use it. The second one is slightly different, and as you can see on the screen behind me, I've used it to take the background from several of our photos so that I can use them without a background, so not just a white background but without a background, which means that they can float much more on the images and on websites and pages that you might want to use them on. If you hang on a second, I'm going to move the camera so that I can show you how quickly this works, because it really is just brilliant. When I found it, I went through and thought it was the best thing since sliced bread, purely from the fact that, as I say, it can remove the background from a whole host of images, which makes them just so much easier to use. So hang on a sec, I'm going to swap you over. Okay, so what I've done is I've moved the screen round, or moved the camera around so you can see my screen, and the URL of this site is remove.bg, B for Bertie, G for graphics, and it's essentially remove.background. And as you can see here, if you follow my mouse, that we've got a big green button, select a photo, and when you go to remove.bg, this is the screen that you open, so you just click on select a photo. We'll click on Chris LinkedIn and choose that one. It immediately just takes you to the photo and it scrolls through. You get the original image, which is a rather nice photo of Chris with a coloured background, and then you get the image without the background, and that is how quickly it happens. And that's what we did to get to these photos that I've already got saved. So that's Chris's LinkedIn profile photo, the one on the right, which has got the background, which actually looks quite nice on LinkedIn, but the one on the left is the one without the background, which I can now use on anything that I want to that doesn't require a background. As I said before, the beauty of that is that I can use that picture without the background absolutely anywhere, and that site is totally free. I've downloaded probably a dozen photos and I didn't hit any usage requirements. So if you're trying to update some of the photos that you have, or you've got them on a background that you wouldn't necessarily want to promote, I don't know, say you met a celeb or something that you wanted to use for PR, but the background isn't quite right, this is a brilliant way of cutting that background out. If you've got a background you don't want to use, that cuts it out and enables you to use that wherever you might choose to. And obviously you can change the background too, so I could put Chris sitting in the middle of the most beautiful gardens or wherever else I might want to stitch him up by putting him. So that would be a really good one to play with if you're trying to update some of your photos but don't want to go through the pain or the time element of having those redone. So those are my two tips for this week's episode. I'll leave you with those and I'll see you all very soon.